Hello everyone, today I'll be talking to you about how streaming is bad for musicians. Streaming websites don't take care of musicians the way they should. Artists are given very little per view on their songs. Musicians who get millions of views still get very little in payment from streaming sites. It is unfair and unacceptable to pay so little for something that the company makes a humongous profit from. Professional studio recording time can be up to $500 or more for every hour. Bands and musicians spend roughly 60 to 100 hours recording albums, and that is at the most for both $50,000 in recording time. This is without mentioning the amount of time musicians spend practicing on their own time and writing the music. For the amount of time and effort artists put into their music, they should be paid more by streaming sites. Most streaming sites like Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, etc. have an $8 to $15 charge per month for their premium users. According to studies, Spotify has 87 million monthly users, meaning they make $1.3 billion a month with this amount of money. They should be able to pay musicians more for the work. According to an article by Daniel Sanchez, award-winning cellist and composer Zoe Keating, for example, revealed she earned just $4,388 after nearly 1.2 million total streams on Spotify. This means she made less than a cent per stream, which is terrible. Some other sites provide even less money for those who make music. YouTube is appalling with 875 streams and only a measly $2.47, which is ridiculous considering how much time and money is put into a musician's work. This means that per stream on YouTube, artists make 0.00282 less than a cent. At this rate, it would take 1 million views to make minimum wage for a month, $12 per hour in California. In California, working full-time 40 hours a week, these musicians are getting paid 1 month of minimum wage in a year for their work. Even at that, they would need 1 million plays to make that amount for 1 year. Music takes a lot of time and work. If you practice for 4 hours per day, 6 days a week, you get there after a little more than 8 years. Gladwell may be wrong, but you're unlikely to become a professional without putting in some serious time and effort. That's Sims from 2013. This article talks about a book written by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers, The Story of Success. The author says that to become a professional musician, it could take 10,000 hours of practice, which is what the quote above is talking about. Musicians sometimes spend 6 hours a day practicing. This is without mentioning the time spent recording, which is around 3 to 4 hours on average. This time is in total can be up to 10 hours on Sundays, which is more than a full-time job. For the work these musicians put into their music, they should be paid a fair wage. There are some solutions to this problem. One solution is simply increasing the amount that Spotify pays per stream. As stated above, Spotify has 87 million premium users, and they make $15 off of them every month, totaling $1.2 billion a month, or $14 billion a year. Spotify also makes that money from ad revenue. From those who don't pay premium, they have to listen to ad breaks. The company pays large sums of money to be featured on Spotify commercials. While Spotify ad price is a steep minimum of $25,000 per campaign, with CPMs ranging from $5 to $30, Spotify is moving toward a more available advertising budget to attract smaller and smaller businesses. And that is from Grodzki, 2018. The company makes a lot of money, and I believe that more of that money should be given to the artists whose talent is making that money. Large artists rack up views and make large sums of money, but smaller, less popular artists have a hard time making anything at all. One example being Ed Sheeran's Shape of You is now the most streamed song ever on Spotify at 1.3 billion plays as of last week. Considering that Spotify's average payout per stream is now 0.005 of a cent, the song has generated about $6.6 million. If you are Ed Sheeran getting up to 1 billion views, you can make a very substantial living off streaming site like Spotify. But those who get around 1 million views or less will make $5,000 in a year. Spotify makes plenty of money to considering that all they bring in monthly, yearly, they should be able to pay more. Another solution to the problem comes from the Sabal writer, a writer for CNBC. It can become a record label and cut exclusive deals directly with artists. In other words, Spotify and other services should disintermediate records that can take as much as 70% of money royalties. This way, both parties can make money from the deal. The artists can write exclusive songs for the streaming sites and can be paid directly. That way, both parties win. The company would still make a bulk of the proceeds, but more money than what is being provided now will be given to the artist. The streaming acts could pay for the musicians to record and produce albums, which would then provide both sides money through sales of music, or paying for the album directly for download through the app. This way, everything goes through the website and the money can be distributed fairly and with more consideration to the artist. The reason fans use streaming sites is because it makes listening to music easy, affordable, and accessible. So if users pay a monthly subscription, but also sometimes pay out more for exclusive albums and songs, the site will make more money, and in turn the artist will too. The website can also decrease the amount of money that is accessible to those who do not pay a monthly subscription, which would push more people into paying for the services, which again provides more money to musicians and provides the consumers with the music they want at a fairer price. The solution to this problem that I have come up with so far is for the consumers to stop using streaming sites and start buying albums and CDs from the store. That is currently the best way to support artists, along with going to shows. Musicians can make a lot more from CD and album sales than from streams, which is fair for the amount of work they put into creating music, considering that it is said to take 10,000 hours to master a single instrument. That is 416 days of playing, which means that an hour a day it would take over 20 years to master an instrument. Some musicians have mastered multiple instruments. I think that it should be reason enough for them to make more money from streaming sites. Another pro of this method is that if streaming sites lose money from more people buying CDs and albums, it could cause them to find a better solution if enough people get behind the movement and voice their opinions. I believe the best option to improve upon the way musicians are paid by streaming sites is the idea provided by Sabal, which would be for companies to become labels and produce exclusive content, which would bring in more money all around. This is the problem that needs to be solved, because music isn't something that is just made in a factory. It comes from inside a person, and it has emotion and feeling. It shouldn't be abused by big companies that milk it for profit and give a few drops back to those who created it. Music takes a lot of time and something that the majority of people enjoy, and it is something that should be protected and appreciated for what it is worth.